Welcome to the worst with Chad Austin. Man, it has been I think it's been a full month since I've been here. And I could do the thing where it's just like I'm just starting the second season of this podcast, but I've always been against the whole podcast in seasons thing. It's just like you're not making a sitcom, it's an internet fucking radio show. It's a radio show, really. I mean, that's all a fucking podcast is. This is AM radio where you can talk about dicks and pussies and stuff. It's the same exact thing. And also is I used to get really, I don't know. I used to get really self conscious about having episodes where I didn't have guests, but now I kind of welcome it. Like, I really just want to do things on my time, baby. Like, I really don't want to pay attention to another person sometimes. Like, I spend hours and hours of every day, basically all my whole life every day, paying attention to the thoughts, needs, desires, wants of other people. Some people, I don't mind doing it because it's the people I care about, like, wife and daughter. And the rest of the time, which is more often than not, it's piece of shit customers at the restaurant and bar that think that they are owed something because they came in. And it's, dude, let's start this one off with a bang. I got my first ever death threat at work the other day. If anybody doesn't know, I'm one of the managers of a very, very popular restaurant in Los Angeles. And we do a lot of takeout orders. There's still, pandemic's over and all that, but people still just, we do barbecue. And it is one of the few types of food that travels well, right? So a lot of people order takeout from us, and that's fine, dude. Like, I'd rather you do that anyways, because then I don't have to fucking see you. So people order takeout, and we get a lot of takeout orders. And, for the most part, the people packing takeout orders are 19, 20, 21-year-old kids. So it's not like they have the most care or attention to detail or anything like that. Like, this isn't what, in their minds, like, they are still at that point where, like, this isn't what I'm going to do with my life. Like, I'm not going to work in a restaurant, right? Like I'm doing this right now to make it to X, Y, and Z and B and whatever. So not as much, thought, care, wants, desires of making it or, getting a promotion or whatever it may be, right? And also the younger kids just tend to not give a fuck as much. Like, I would say, like, there's no, not in all of them, but in a lot of them, I just see like a dying work ethic. Like, I was raised by my grandpa to understand that, like, you just fucking, you go out there and you do everything that you're asked of and then more, right? And it's not how people see this thing anymore. Like, it's automatically like, why would I do that for what, like all the things on the internet where it's just like, I'm working for $5 so the owner of the company can make $1 million. Yeah, dude, I get that. But also, you need that $5 because we're all poor because we live in Los Angeles. So work the fucking job and make the money so, you can go out for drinks one night after you pay your rent and then live off top ramen for the rest of the month. I don't fucking know, dude, but just do your job. Anyways, hostess picks up the phone instantly starts getting screamed at by some guy, right? And when she hands me the phone, she says, this man on the phone just said that we stole $100 from him and he better get his food or his money back or he's bringing down a group of people to fuck our shit up, quote unquote. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, threatened with violence. I've been threatened with violence before. That's no big deal. And you know what? I've had real death threats before too, but this is the first one that ever came to me at work over something work related. I've gotten a death threat at work before, but it was over fucking somebody's girlfriend. So I pick up the phone and I'm like, so-and-so, how can I help you? And this man just starts fucking screaming at me. And I don't even really know what's going on yet. Like, I haven't asked him his name, blah, blah, blah. All the stuff that helps me look up his order to help him figure out what happened, why things are fucked up, right? So he's just like, hey, man. I spend $100. And by the way, $100 is not that big of an order at my work. So I get it, dude. $100 is a lot of money to spend on a meal. But when you deal with this day in and day out, when somebody goes, I spent $100 and they expect you to start sucking them off, it's just like, nah, dude. That's fucking 2 meats, 3 sides, and a drink, bro. That's nothing. Barbecue's expensive. Good barbecue, at least. And I spent $100 and, I went in and I did the thing and I placed my order and I'm not getting any emails telling me my food's coming and the money came out of my account and I just want to know what the fuck you're going to do about it. And I was like, well, first, sir, I'm just going to ask you your name because I don't know what's going on. You're just screaming at me. And he says his name. And then he starts screaming again. Same thing over and like really angry people are like really drunk people when they get into that seeing red mindset. It's the same thing as somebody who's like really drunk and then they just start repeating themselves over and over and over again. Yeah, I know everyone has that drunk friend that does that. There's that drunk friend that they'll turn into the broken record, right? One of my best friends, when he gets hammered, that's what happens every time. And I remember one time I was driving him home in his truck and I wanted nothing more than to grab him by the side of his head while he was in the passenger seat and just start smashing his head into the passenger window like this. Because he just kept on going, hey man, you remember that time we went and did the thing and then he'd stop and he'd sit there for a minute and, hey man, you remember the time when we went and we did that? And it was a 15 to 20 minute drive home, and all he did was repeat that same story. And the story was it was very nonsense. I don't know. It was not important. I can't even remember what it was that he kept on repeating. I just remember that it was like a minute or two long, the story was, and he would stop, take a breath, and repeat it again. So this is the same thing with somebody who's in a deep fit of rage. They tend to do that a lot because they feel like they've been wronged and they want justice. So this man is screaming at me about all the food that he ordered and how dare we and that $100 is somewhere and it's not in his bank account and this, that, and the other. And I'm looking everywhere for an order under his name and I can't find it anywhere. And he says that he ordered through Uber Eats and, just a little inside baseball is that if you order through Uber Eats, that money doesn't go to us. Like, we get a percentage of that money. That money goes to fucking Uber Eats. So most of the time we just tell people, hey, go call Uber Eats because you didn't order that from us. You ordered that from them. We're just the people that prepare the food when you do it that way. So I'm trying to tell him this and he's not listening. And I'm like, we don't have your money. They do. And I don't have an order for you, so I don't know what the fuck to tell you, dude. And he goes, my man, are you prepared to die for this? And I was like, Die for what, dude? I didn't do anything. And he goes, are you prepared to die for my money or this barbecue? Because I'm ready to kill you for it. I was like, well, sir, if it comes to that, and before I could even finish anything, he hung up on me. And, I took a minute and I kind of laughed it off because I know people that have anger issues, and I know most of the time you just say shit that you don't really mean. So just laughed it off, and whatever, dude. I got a death threat at work. Big deal. And about 5 to 10 minutes later, phone rings again. A hostess looks at the caller ID and it's the same name. So she's like, I don't want to answer this. Will you answer it? And I was like, yeah, no problem. Answer the phone. And it's the guy. And the tone has changed. There is no more screaming at the top of his lungs like he was doing before. This is a man who knows he was wrong. And it is a very apologetic tone. And he goes, sir, I believe we just spoke. I was like, yeah, we did. Sir, I might have said some things that were, just unacceptable. And I was like, yeah, you might have. Sir, I just want to apologize. He's like, I went back onto the Uber site, and it turns out I never even really placed the order. I thought I hit the place the order button, but I never hit it. So the money hadn't been taken out of my account, and there was no order ever placed, and I was yelling at you for nothing, sir. And I was like, you were? Yeah, I kind of figured. And he goes, so he's like, I just actually placed the order right now, and I'm calling to tell you this because, sir, please don't spit in my food, sir. And I was just like, man, we would never. I wouldn't. I haven't done any fucked up shit like that to food since I was like 19. I'll tell you about that. But I was like, man, I would never. And then he hits me with, because I work in a restaurant. He's like, I work in a restaurant, and I swear to God, if somebody called me like that, he's like, I'd be dragging my nuts on their food. I'd be spitting on that shit. So I'm just calling to kindly ask you to please not spit on my food. And I wanted to apologize for my actions because they were inexcusable and unacceptable. And I was like, yeah, dude, absolutely. So, I mean, honestly, it's commendable. I don't think I can't think off the top of my head of a time where I've actually gotten an apology from a customer that was out of line. Usually they chalk it up to like they'll never see me again, so they're not going to apologize for shit, right? Because most of the time when somebody's so heated, their whole thing is like, I'm never coming back here. I'm never coming back here. And so they'll just act an ass, even though you could tell deep down they know that they're wrong, but they've just gotten to this place, like they've pinned themselves into this corner, and now they're a fucking honey badger trying to fight their way out of a nest of king cobras. Honey badger wins every time. And they do, and unless you start a physical fight with them, they most likely just win that argument and they leave. But I got an apology out of it, so all was good in the world. What else has happened? I've said this before, where I get too high sometimes, and then I go into crisis mode. It happened to me the other night. Like, okay, so I have like this really low tolerance to weed, which sucks because I have such a high tolerance to everything else. Like the amount of drugs that I can do and feel like I'm not phased. I mean, it's probably, I know for sure it's one of those things where it's just like, I can do an 8-ball of, well, probably not anymore. I could probably do an 8-ball of cocaine. Back in the day, I could do an 8-ball of cocaine and feel like it's not showing at all, but then I'd just be like sweaty and grinding my jaw. But like, I still like, I could function. I can function. if I take a hit off my wife's vape pen, and if it's a hit that's like even 2 seconds, let's say 2 seconds longer than I know I should, I'm fucked. And this is what happened. I I took 2 gummies, and 20 minutes went by, and I forgot I had taken gummies. And then I grabbed her pen and I hit it, and I hit it for too long. And right when I blew out the smoke and I saw how much smoke blew out, I instantly got in my head, and I was like, oh, fuck, I'm fucked. And that's when I remembered too that I had eaten the gummies. So then I was like, oh, fuck, I'm double fucked. And then there was multiple gunshots outside of my window. And and here's the thing, it's too, it's just like I've heard gunshots many of times outside my window, but usually they sound like very far away. Like you just hear an echo in a distance and you're like, oh, that's a gun. That's not a firework, that's a gun. Last night it sounded so fucking close, and I had to lie to my wife and tell her that, like, no, it wasn't close. And I was just like, because, and dude, I came up with like a story on the fly to like make her not worried. I was like, because we're like right next to a wash, and the wash reverberates sound, so it sounds closer than it is, bro. That fucking shit was close, let me tell you. So I'm already in my head about like, okay, well, how close? And then I start hearing sirens, and then I start hearing a chopper, and I was like, how close was that really? Is there somebody running through my complex right now? And now I'm stuck in my head, right? Because I'm high, and I'm also thinking about the scenarios of bad shit that could happen. I mean, and the most outlandish shit too. Like there was like 65 units in my condo complex, and mine's like deep in the corner. And the wildest shit, like this guy's gonna like jump the back fence, and he's gonna run, and he's gonna go straight to my front door and kick it in, and now I'm gonna have to fight this dude, but he has a gun. Did he shoot off all of his bullets? I mean, every thought in my head is just spinning of all of these things where, I mean, I'm gonna have to somehow be a hero, right? And I'm too high to be a hero. That's the whole thing. It's just like I don't have my wits about me. I own a gun and I don't even know where it is. Um, I'm a terrible gun owner. Um, it's somewhere in my closet. I hope it's up high where my kid can't get it. Anyways, um, so it's a joke. I know it's not anywhere my kid can reach. Calm down. So after I get through all of that, like I reach a point of like somewhat levity where I'm like, okay, that it's been like 20 minutes. If there was gonna be a guy that broke into my house, he would have done it already, right? So now I'm just laying in bed, spiraling in my own head about shit about myself, because I mean, I feel like I'm the exact opposite of most people. For most people, if they have any self doubt, it happens during the normal business hours of your mind, right? For me, it happens. And then, okay, normal person, self doubt during the day about, random shit, whatever it is. I don't know if it's like you're going on a job interview, or you have a casting call, or, you're a painter and you don't like what you've done. And there's always that, especially most people that are good at what they do have at least a little bit of self-doubt, because it keeps you, motivated, right? And I do have your average amount of self-doubt about everything I do, but then once I think feel like normal people smoke weed, they kind of let all of that, like those inhibitions go, and they are a little bit more free in what they think and what they do. With me, it gets 10 times worse, and I like I dig myself a grave of just terrible, terrible thoughts. And so after all of the possible gun violence and being a hero, I went into a deep thought of just how awful I am at everything, and how the podcast is garbage, and why do I do this? And it is so stupid that I post clips of myself on the internet talking. Does anybody even really give a shit? No one fucking cares. This is so fucking self-serving. I hate everything about it, and I hate myself. And I mean, and then it went into stand-up. It's just like, you haven't done stand-up in months. You're a piece of shit. You call yourself a comic, but you don't do anything about it. You roast battle, but you lost the last 2 times you went. You fucking loser. Dude, I swear to God, if I would have stayed stuck in that like version of high, that I would have just jumped off a bridge because everything was really bad. Um, I'm here to say that I know that this is all very self-serving. I'm aware of that, but I also understand that some people do like it, right? And at the end of the day, like, I gotta have something for me, so go fuck yourself. If you don't like it, just leave. It's fine. You don't have to watch it. I lost 15 followers on Instagram last week over saying that I wanted all the bums in LA to die. I said I said I wanted to put them all in a camp and then light the edges of the camp on fire and then listen to them all scream, and somebody called me racist. I don't even understand how that's racist. Most of the bums in my neighborhood are fucking white. And I mean, but also it's like, I never once mentioned, unless people are counting homeless people as a race of people now, I have no idea how anything I said was racist. But I posted a clip of me saying, well, I didn't even post the clip of me saying that they should all die in a fire. I posted a clip talking about how the bums are all going to get hotel rooms if this new bill passes, and how I think it's the dumbest shit that LA's ever done. And then somebody wrote, that's racist AF. And I was like, how is that fucking racist? I don't get it. I feel like nowadays you can call anything you don't like racist, and then people clam up. People are like, oh shit, it's racist, I'm not supposed to like this. And then I lost 15 fucking followers on Instagram. That was rude, dude. I'm working on trying to get to 2,000, and I can't somehow get past like 1850. Dog, help a brother out. I mean, there's a bunch of dumbass motherfuckers out there that just dance, and they have millions of followers. I'm trying to get to 2,000, and at least I feel like I'm contributing to society a little bit more than somebody that fucking dances. And also, here's my problem with the people that dance. Dancing is cool. I don't mind watching dancing. What I hate about these fucking dancing videos on TikTok and Instagram is the fucking weird smile. There is this almost like, it's very fake, and it feels almost sinister the way that they smile throughout the entire dance. Like, they lock eyes with the camera and they're like, please watch the video version of this, because if you're listening to audio, it's kind of, but they're just like, and it's okay. And then also, there's this way that people film cooking videos for Instagram and TikTok that drive me fucking nuts, because they show you the finished product first, because it's obviously, that part I get. Like, you want to draw somebody's attention in. Like, look, you can make this. Great. Good selling point. And then, like, let me show you. And then they show you, like, very, very fast cut clips of how they make something. And then at the very end, they always take a bite, and then they do, like, the overreacting, like, I feel like these kids don't know what an infomercial is. Because back in the day when we didn't have the apps to watch TV, and then it would be 2 a.m. and there was nothing on, all that was on was infomercials. It was like the 700 Club, which was a Jesus show, and then infomercials about Cutco knives and ShamWows and food processors that fold up into like the size of your wallet or some shit, right? So all of this, and then they, like, you know, if there was a product where they made food, at the end they would like take a bite and they would go like, like they would make these over dramatic faces about how good it is. And I'm sorry, but nothing that you make, yet when you make eggs in a microwave with a gadget, they don't come out that good. Nothing that I've ever seen on TikTok, minus like 5-star chefs that are on TikTok, which are very few, looks good enough for anybody to make those fucking faces. Stop it. It's wrong. It's false advertising. You're making a weird fucking casserole, Susan. Chill. Fucking I saw somebody wrap ground beef around raw spaghetti noodles, like crunchy. Not like they made their own spaghetti noodle. They wrapped ground beef around a stick of spaghetti and then baked it in the oven. And the noodles were still all clumped up and kind of hard. And then they took a bite and they poured sauce over it and they took a bite and they made the face like it was the best thing you ever tried. Like, go fuck yourself. We know this is just for views. Fully aware of that. And if I wanted to, I could make one of these videos, but I would get high and I would hate myself even more than I do now. I can't do it, man. I want the followers, but I also have values. I don't really have values, but it's like I just, there's a level of cringe that I won't go to. I feel like I have my own version of cringe where I kind of sit in the pocket, as where like some people find me to be like too right wing or too left wing or whatever it may be. And then there's fights in the YouTube comments when I post a short, which is fucking hilarious. Somebody told me that I should go hang out with Kim Jong-un. Whatever, dude. That was over the homeless thing too. People are wild, but I mean, that's about okay. So let's let you know. Okay, now that I've talked about myself enough, let's get into a few topics for today. I finally watched the Disney movie Lightyear, and when that movie came out, there was controversy, right? Like, there was all this shit about how they won't play it in, like, I think it was like 13 different countries because there's a gay kiss, right? There's openly gay crew members in Lightyear, and China won't stand for it, and blah blah blah, and whoever else. So I watched it, and I didn't really think I was going to like this movie, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And the robot cat is adorable. And so basically the movie is, I thought it was supposed to be like, this is like Buzz Lightyear and he's like a live action person and blah, blah, blah. But really what they do in this is, they, at the very beginning, they're like, Lightyear is the movie of Buzz Lightyear, in which they make the toys of Buzz Lightyear. So like, this is the movie that Andy and his friends loved and then got a toy of Buzz Lightyear afterwards. So this is supposed to be a movie of Buzz Lightyear, which is, kind of a cool take. And then, we get to watch the movie that Andy loved. So there is a black female crew member and she's a lesbian, and she gives that they're leaving on a mission or some shit. She gives her wife a little like peck kiss, like on the lips. It's a little kiss, like, goodbye, honey, I'm leaving. Like the type of kiss that you give somebody when you're leaving the house, whether it be your significant other, your fucking kid, your mother, your father, whoever it may be. We've all given this kiss to somebody. I shouldn't say all. I'm sure there's some of you that live really sad and lonely lives, and I apologize. Maybe you kiss your hamster or your cat or your dog. You give somebody a goodbye kiss, right? So it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. And this made me think about, like, well, there's a ton of Disney movies, right? And I feel like we've had maybe not an openly gay character in every Disney movie, but we've had a gay character in every Disney movie. And I have all the Disney movies in front of me in chronological order, and we're going to go through some, maybe all of them right now, depending on how I'm feeling. And we're going to point out the gay character in every Disney movie, starting with the very first Disney movie, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now, I don't know what you're thinking, but automatically I'm saying it's Grumpy. Grumpy's the gay one. Grumpy's the gay one, and I'm going to say this is why. Because he lives in a house with 7 other dudes, and he seems very repressed sexually. Maybe he's still in the closet, but, like, he is trying to smash some ass and no one else is into it. So he's horny, he's pent up, he's grumpy. Grumpy is the gay one in Snow White. Next is Pinocchio. Pinocchio's gay. He gets around a bunch of, I mean, anytime he lies, his nose grows. It's almost like an erection, but also he gets into like a really wild rave party with a bunch of different little boys, and they all turn into donkeys. And we all know what happens at donkey shows. Somebody got fucked. Pinocchio's the gay one in that movie. Fantasia, I don't know. I'm guessing it's the mop. Dumbo. Damn, dude, it's been a long time since I've seen Dumbo. Maybe it's nah. We'll go, but we'll circle back. I don't know about Dumbo. Bambi, fucking Thumper, obviously. I know a gay dude in West Hollywood named Thumper. All right, and then there's a bunch of shit that no one really cares about. Song of the South, most racist movie ever made. Cinderella. You know, in Cinderella, I feel like maybe Lucifer is a gay cat, but also the ugly stepsisters, I feel like they have let themselves go because they're just they don't want a man, you know? They rather be wearing flannels and chopping down trees, if you get what I'm saying. Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter, dude. The Mad Hatter is gay. Peter Pan. I mean, okay, so it's not Peter Pan, but I think a good portion of the Lost Boys might be. And we got, you see, there's a lot of movies Disney made that nobody cares about. The Vanishing Prairie, the Davy Crockett movie, Lady and Tramp. I think the little Scotty dog was gay. The Great Locomotive Chase, like seriously, Disney. I mean, we are back in the 50s, so there's probably a lot of really, really repressed sexuality and a ton of racism in these movies. And actually, there's definitely a ton of, because Walt Disney was still alive at this time, and that man was racist as shit. Like that man was pretty clear that, you know, he did not like Jews. He helped start NASA with one of the top scientists from the fucking Nazi regime. Old Yeller, they put that dog down because he was gay. Sleeping Beauty, I think Maleficent was a lesbian. We could just do that. Darby O'Gill and the Little People, that's a good movie, but a lot of you don't know what that is. I watch it every year for St. Patrick's Day with my kid. It's a fucking fantastic old Disney movie. Swiss Family Robinson, they were all fucking each other. 101 Dalmatians. I mean, Cruella's a hardcore bitch, but I don't think that necessarily means anything. You know what? Her two henchmen, Cruella de Vil's henchmen, I can't remember their names, but those dudes were gay. We're trekking along here. Moon Pilot, Bon Voyage, Big Red. I mean, there's so much shit Disney made that no one gives a flying fuck about. Son of Flubber, Savage Sam. That sounds racist. Sword in the Stone. Merlin was gay. And Mary Poppins. The Chimney Sweepers? I mean, they do sing a song about supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and that's really not. That really, I don't think, is like in the straight vernacular. That darn cat. Cat was gay. And I mean, damn, dude, these movies are all really fucking old. The Jungle Book. Dude, the snake. The snake liked to slither with those S's. Yeah, I think this bit's gone on long enough. Okay. Dude, 422. There's 422 Disney movies when you go in chronological order. This is crazy. Okay, I wonder, let's get to maybe some Pixar stuff. Oh, by the way, like, I haven't shaved my head in like 11 days. That's just straight up depression. I used to there was a point when I was shaving my head every single day when I got out of the shower just to keep it high and tight. And I think that just depression's taken over my life and I've hit rock bottom. And I'm gonna see how long it goes. And I mean, it looks like shit. That's why I wear a hat now. I'm back to being a hat guy, which is what I was before I started shaving my head because I was balding. I think I share too much on this. No one really cares about that. All right. Let's just say fuck the whole Disney thing because that bit went on for too long. But I mean, you get the point. There's been gays in Disney this whole time. So maybe we shouldn't send any of these movies to China if you're so afraid of the gay characters. I mean, because nowadays everything's like, do you not like female leads either? Because we got a ton of those now. The women aren't princesses anymore. They are the fucking heroes of the story. And if you have a problem with that, fucking keep the movie out of China. Who cares? J.K. Rowling is back in the news, the author of Harry Potter. Which also, I feel like I was just a little bit too old to read those books when they came out. My little sister loved them. But, I've skimmed a couple of the books and I've watched, I didn't watch all the movies until I was in my early 20s. Because I was always just like, it's kid shit when they were first coming out. Because I think I was like late teens when the first Harry Potter movie came out, and then it wasn't until I was like 24, 25 that I actually sat down. I think it was like when I first met my wife. She made me watch all the Harry Potter movies because I told her I hadn't seen them, and they're fucking fantastic movies. They're so much fun. I love them, and it made me want to read the books, so I've read a little bit of the books, and I'm a busy person, and I'd rather read a book about comedy or something else like that. So it didn't really hold my attention, but the writing is good, okay. And also, I thought I'd have an excuse to read them more because I thought maybe my daughter would like me to read them to her, but she didn't care. So there I was, just being 35 and reading Harry Potter by myself, and I just didn't feel like it. But anyways, so she was held in the highest regard when she wrote these books, right? The Harry Potter books, they were fucking legendary. Everybody loved them. It was, I mean, there was people that were talking about how these are like, I remember when they first came out, like there was a bunch of like grown ass, fuck man, sorry. There was a bunch of grown-ass adults waiting in line for the new release of the third book, and they'd fucking set up tents outside Barnes and Noble and what are the other Borders books? Dude, there was so many bookstores back in the day that don't exist anymore. But there was, okay, so they would set up these tents and they'd wait all night and they'd get it at midnight, and it was a whole thing. And Harry Potter was for everybody, and it made queer people feel like they belonged because it almost seemed like it was like this whole outcast scenario of this world of magical people, and maybe it could be them. And then the Harry Potter series completes, and J.K. Rowling goes on Twitter and basically is just like, nah, y'all are wrong. And then she just starts dropping bombs. She's just like, Hagrid's gay. And she's like, I don't believe trans people are real people. And wild shit. Like, there are, I don't think she said she shouldn't believe trans people are real people. She said she doesn't believe trans women are real women and trans men are real men. And, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Whatever. But she did decide to throw her opinion out on Twitter where the mob's the most volatile, right? So everyone fucking hated her after that, and they didn't let her go to the 10-year reunion of Harry Potter and all that shit. And so now she wrote a book. The newest book that she's releasing is about a transphobic author that gets attacked by a mob. So it's supposed to be fiction, but it reads like real life. And I'm very curious. I think maybe that this is going to be one of those things where we have a read along on this podcast to see how close to. I wonder if it's like she gets attacked in real life, or if the whole book is about her getting like Twitter violated. I don't know, but the bitch is wild. And I don't even really know where I was going with that. I just thought it was a funny headline that she wrote a book about herself and is, casting it out there as fiction. Wait, back to Disney for a second because I went to Disneyland on not last, yeah, last Monday. Because today is Monday, so it wouldn't be today. It was last Monday. I went to Disneyland, and I haven't been to Disneyland since like pre-pandemic. And to me, I wouldn't care if I didn't go to Disneyland for another 10 years. I do that. I do the Disneyland thing for the wife and the kid because they're both Disney obsessed. I married one of those adult Disney weirdos. And it's fine. She doesn't force me to be like a Disney guy. It's her thing. I'm totally accepting of it being her thing. Um, it does suck because I have to go there more often than I'd ever want to. And now, since pandemic, lost Disney billions of dollars, everything is even more overpriced than it was before. So, luckily this time, the mother-in-law bought us tickets, and then all I had to do was pay for prizes and food and her wheelchair and all that shit. But we went, and it was hot as fuck, and we had a good time regardless. But the one thing that I noticed is I was thinking about all the fucking couples that you see at Disneyland that wear matching shirts, and it's like it's like one says Cinderella and the other one says Prince Charming, or yeah, I don't know. There's all kinds of different ones. Um, or it's like Jesse and Woody from Toy Story, and they have the designs, and it says like cowboy and cowgirl, and they're all so fucking stupid. And all I can think about is it's either a girl with her gay best friend or it's a guy that is just started dating a girl and he's really working. So I feel like this is this is the easiest way to get your like talk yourself into getting like a blowjob or something, because I don't see myself ever being caught dead wearing a matching Disneyland. I even saw a couple wearing shirts that says we don't do the matching shirt thing, but they were both wearing that shirt. I don't know why this bothers me so much, but I fucking hate it. I hate when there's, I don't know. It's too much to me. It feels forced to. I don't know. I guess you could share the same passion and hobby for Disneyland, but my blase attitude towards Disneyland makes me feel like there's really no one that has ever found somebody. And if you did find somebody, like this is your life. You go to Disneyland, you get a season pass, right? And you just go to Disneyland every day. And even if it's not to go ride rides, you like go watch the fireworks, or you do something. But that's like your whole life, and you role play as like Sleeping Beauty and Prince Charming, and he kisses you without consent in the middle of the night, and then you guys start fucking, and like that's how your life goes. Your life is just, you base everything on storybooks and fictional lands and characters, and you work at a bank or some shit, and yeah, everything is very very vanilla, and you are 40-year-old people who go to Disney brunches with all the characters, and you take photos with like people in big costumes and shit. It feels weird to me. And do your thing, but I'm just speaking my piece on it. The whole grown-up Disney obsession and taking your photo with characters, or getting the autograph book, or paying an extra $300 to have lunch with the princesses. They're not the fucking real princesses. These are actors who live in Orange County. So most likely they're racist and they support Trump, but they're actors that live in Orange County, and then they go to work, and then they put on a costume, and then they walk out for like 15 minutes at a time and wave to you and take a photo, and then they go in the back and smoke a cigarette talk about how much they fucking hate their life and this is just a stepping stone into their acting career, and then they put the smile back on and walk back out, but you're all so excited to see these people, and I just I just don't understand where you don't see like that mask of reality slipping and it where you can stay locked in. The people that can stay locked into that is I actually I might even I don't, now that I'm thinking about it more, I might even be jealous of you that you can you don't break that barrier. Like that fourth wall doesn't break to you where you're just like, "Oh, that's just a fucking person." And I'm not going to take my picture with just some random fucking stranger. You think that's Princess Tiana or Cinderella or fucking Pocahontas. You actually believe that and you get excited and you take your picture with them as an adult person, you psychopath. I don't know, man. I guess do what you want. I still think you're fucking nuts. I mean, at least with my wife, she is, you know, we have a kid who still can believe in the magic, and that's great. But I don't know. I can't bring myself to take photos with these people. It weirds me out. Weirds me out because I know that the guy dressed as Gaston, his real name's like fucking Steve. And he probably goes to fucking Hooters afterwards and gets tanked and grabs chicks' tits and gets kicked out. Steve has a couple DUIs that he's trying to pay off by being Gaston. No one fucks like Gaston. I don't know, man. Yeah, you know, it's that kind of is a good transition into my thoughts on Burning Man. Because Burning Man just happened. I have a couple of homies that were very excited about going to Burning Man. And it's another thing that I don't understand. And maybe it's because I've never been and I never will go. But the whole idea of Burning Man, I don't know. It kind of just feels like my life. Burning Man feels like my life growing up because I grew up in a desert. And when I was younger in the desert, in the Palm Springs, La Quinta area, there wasn't much built up then. Like almost everything is relatively within like 20 years. So the first, you know, 16 years of my life, like a lot of that shit wasn't there. And it was just a lot of empty dirt lots. So it's just, we would go out and we would get drunk in dirt lots because we were too young to have our own houses and none of our parents were cool enough. So we'd make a fire out of shit that we would find at like housing projects. We'd take like wood crates and shit, put them in somebody's truck, drive them out in the middle of a dirt field, and then light them on fire and stand around it and get drunk. And that was like, you know, a solid 4 years of my life doing shit like that. And then some asshole would get too drunk and decide it was a good idea to try to jump over the fire and 99% of the time land in said fire. And I feel like that's all Burning Man is. People drive out in the middle of the desert and okay, but there's more there's more drugs involved. But they turn it into and it feels like it's always like my friends who have money. It's like you're kind of a dick. You know, you have the money for all the niceties in the world and you can actually go on a really dope vacation, right? You could take your girl to Italy or France or fucking Japan and see all these different wonders of the world, but you would rather rent an RV for like fucking $500, $600 a day and go out and park it in the middle of the desert for a week. And you bring 3 fucking cases of toilet paper and 2 cases of chapstick and you start a barter system for drugs. That's what Burning Man is. And then there's techno playing over here and some guy offering to let you use his bicycle to ride it to the other side of camp if he can get a chapstick off of you. And I know some people do it for like swingers things too. So it's just like you trade a roll of toilet paper to fuck somebody's girl. And I guess it's like hedonism or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But also, you know, there's fucking nude beaches in France and shit where you could walk around with pasties on or basically you could do this anywhere but the middle of a fucking Nevada desert. I think it's in Nevada. Pretty sure it is. You could do this anywhere but a Nevada desert and it would be a lot cooler than it is. But you go out to the playa, the plateau or whatever the fuck you guys call it, and you just get wasted in the middle of a desert and shit in buckets for a week. And then you come back talking about how you've transcended and everything is so much clearer and I can see people's auras now. And I'm thinking about becoming a healer, like a shaman or something. I learned how to when I was at Burning Man, I learned how to play the crystal bowls. And now I'm doing sound baths for people. And I only charge $150 an hour and I can really align your chakras. Fuck you. None of that shit works. We have doctors with real medicine listening to somebody bang on a fucking crystal bowl and then spin the little thing in the circle so it goes wong. That doesn't help anything. You don't get over fucking bipolarism or fucking IBS or anything like that from a sound bath. Take a fucking Xanax and go to work like a real fucking human, you psychopath. I'm saying psychopath too much. You're not psychopaths. You guys are fucking retarded. I think that the Burning Man people are worse than the Disney people in certain ways. The only way that you guys redeem yourself at all is that there's way more drug use at Burning Man than Disneyland. If Disneyland had the drug use of Burning Man, Disneyland might be all right. But like this is you guys are like kind of like it's a tipping scale, right? You guys never really even out, but there's shit that's cooler on either side. But at the end of the day, I want both sides to fall because you both fucking suck. I have a lot of hostility this time. I think yeah, I don't know. I think that's it. I mean, I got a guest later on this week. I got the homie Digits coming, so there's a couple things that I want to save for him. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it quits right there. I've ranted enough for today. This has been the Worst of Chad Austin. Like, rate, review, subscribe, do all that shit. Follow me on Instagram at Chad Austin or at The Worst Podcast because I seem to be losing followers left and right. Go to YouTube. I got all the shorts up there and all the videos, and I had 109 subscribers the other day, which is tight. That's great. Thank you for watching and supporting. I know it's all terrible, but it's what I got, man. So fucking deal with it or move on. Thank you. Bye.